Hey, you're back. Nice to see you again. Follow me this way. So, I know you're familiar with the class, but I'm doing something a little bit different today, and I want to show you what I'm doing. So, let's kind of like get over here. Come on, come on. Show you what I'm doing first. So, we're doing something today. It's called a book talk. All right, because it's really important to be introducing books into our content area, no matter what that content area may be. And I don't know if you know this. Well, let me ask you: do you like to read? Yeah, me too. I love to read. It was introduced to me when I was really young, so it just felt like by the time I was already in school, it felt like just kind of a part of who I was. But do you know that reading is not a natural process, and it is something that must be taught? Um, Honestly, and about like a third of fourth graders can't even read a normal, easy to read book in their content or their in their grade level. That's startling to me. So now that I hit you with statistics, let me tell you what I'm going to be doing. So in this book talk, let me tell you what a book talk is. So, um, as I said, it is really important to have books or texts in your content area. Now, if you're wondering what kind of books I'm going to be doing, or what kind of books do I choose from, there's several different ways that you can go about doing this. So I would really recommend is aside from the classics like To Kill a Mockingbird or anything from Steinbeck or whatever. You can look for really good books today, and believe it or not, there are some really great books out there, and look for nationally recognized books. Now, some of these books will have a label like this, which is a National Award book right there, finalist. You can also look for award-winning books on your young adult book sites. There's lots of different options out there. Once you've chosen your book, whatever your content area, mine is social studies, as I mentioned. So in my social studies class, I've decided to use books that are culturally relevant to not only what we're talking about, but also things that will strike an interest in my classroom. Um, so once you've chosen your book and you're still a little not completely sure about whether or not this book works for your classroom, I would really recommend looking at a paragraph in your book and typing it into a Lexile analyzer. Now, once you type it into the analyzer will tell you like around what grade level that book is written for. This is really important because sometimes books say, or it's titled, like say you go to an Amazon title, it'll title it for sixth grade. Now, if you want to be sure that isn't just a selling point, type that in and it'll tell you sixth or seventh grade appropriate or whatnot. It's a very helpful tool. So if you ever have any questions of whether or not that is really a book for your grade, I would highly recommend doing that. I would also recommend is knowing who your class is, understanding the demographic of your class, knowing who your audience is as well. Something that you can also do is do a quick survey in the beginning of your year. What type of books do you like? Name an author that you enjoy and whatnot. Honestly, that you will get some really good information and you can choose some really good books accordingly. Now for the book talk itself. Now, I'm always looking for new strategies to introduce reading because no matter what the grade level is or what your content is that year, it's so important to include reading into this. So in this book talk, first of all, book talk is maybe not what you think. It's not going to be a very structured book report, but rather just kind of a really casual, impromptu summary. What your job is as the book talker is to kind of reel them in, is to spark their interest and give them a little bit there, maybe a little chisme, to get the readers wanting to read and understand how does this story end, what's going to happen next. As you can tell, they always say you can't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes covers don't do a book justice. Students often don't even know what kind of book to choose because based on the cover, you look at it. This is a big commitment, isn't it? It's like how many pages in this one? This is a little over 300 pages, and you'd hate to kind of read like halfway through and you're like, oh, this is terrible, but not terrible, but maybe not for you. So I would strongly suggest reading through the book, and if you can, suggest the book to your student body, so they can be just as enthused about that book as you are. So introduce the book, kind of show it to the class, grab their attention, talk to them about the book. You want to do a short attention getter. By that, I mean you're going to find a passage of book that really grabs your attention, something that strikes you. Don't summarize the whole book for them. You don't want to do that. You want to whet their appetite. So find a passage in the book, normally kind of in the beginning, that grabs their attention and leaves them really wanting more. Another thing I always highly suggest is leave these books highly accessible. Leave them everywhere in the room. They're not just props or decoration, but students can easily find those books. Now, let me give you an example what this might look like. Okay. Class, can I get your attention really quick, please, as I know that you're all just kind of getting settled in right now. You know, as you know, I really love promoting books in this class. I'm an avid reader, and I know that we've come a long way in our reading process, and I want to really get your attention with a book that's really got my attention and really kind of pulling me and thinking, you know what would be good for this? It would be really great to share this with my class. So let me read you a little bit. So let me find that chapter that I was looking for on. Okay, you ready? Ready? Okay, eyes and ears on me, please. Okay, now this is a book called I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. The author is Erika Sanchez. And this is essentially a life that is dominated by two different cultures. She lives in Chicago, she's going to school, and she has these high aspirations, but her family is from a very different time, a very different culture. And she struggles between how to live, how to function, and how to succeed within those two cultures. She's also experienced a lot of tragedy already in her young life. Let me bring this to your attention as I'm going to read this here. The very first page. What surprised me most about seeing my older sister dead is a lingering smirk on her face. The top half of her face is angry, like she's ready to stab somebody, and the bottom half is almost smug. This is not like the Olga I knew. Olga was meek and fragile as a baby bird. The bruises and gashes on her cheeks are marked with thick coats of cheap foundation, making her face haggard, even though she was only 22 years old. Now, if that caught your attention, let me know. This book will be available to you and anybody else that is interested. So, not all at once, okay? We'll see me after class, okay? Thank you. And thank you for coming in again. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving break, okay? Eat some turkey for me. Thanks.